Welcome. Hello, everybody. We're doing it again. Episode 183 here on the Winners and Losers podcast, your source for intermittent podcasting. Isn't that nice? I hear that's a good thing for health, or maybe not. I wouldn't tell you it's a good thing. A lot of people seem persuaded that changing their... What am I getting into? Intermittent podcasting. That's what we do here. Every once in a while, we do a show. Fuck. Not at all what I planned on talking about. Heavy topics ahead. Just so you know, I've got a whole bunch of links prepared to go over a lot of audio about the situation in Palestine and the genocide that the Western nations are uniting to commit, despite the interests of their peoples, despite the interests of obviously the people, the Palestinians and the victims of the genocide living under the terror regime, and despite all the interests of everybody involved. Honestly, I'm already getting into the topics here, but yeah, they're the whole world is being made far less safe because of this entire deal, because of the way we exercise our maniacal bloodlust against innocent people in the way. Yeah, okay. Anyway, we're gonna get to all that. We're gonna do more. I'm already feeling depressed about it. It's been I've been working really hard on this other project and haven't been able to pull it together for the podcast much. I can't force shit in my head if I don't. I just sort of stew on things for a little while, and then when it all kind of builds up, I get ready and I spittle it out into the show. That's basically what's about to happen. And I'll do a bad job. I'll forget some stuff. I'll forget the brilliant insight I had 5 days ago. But, you know, as we go through the links, I might remember some of it and we'll have a good time. I hope you enjoy. Thanks for tuning in. Patreon.com/winners and losers. I do need to somehow make that work. I don't expect this plea to be the difference maker, but I'm completely unemployable. I can't handle fucking noise or stimulation or being around humans for too long, especially bullshit humans like your coworkers. Like, what the fucking nonsense of having a life, having a regular life. If I could work from home, I could probably make that work, but I have to be able to control my space. I'm actually dealing with these lights a little bit. Okay, I got a blue light there. That's my favorite one. Got that light up there. Wrists don't work. Blah blah blah. Big sob story. But so yes, but doing 2 podcasts a month and your second one on the final day of the month is not a great way to show a Patreon audience that you're cranking it out. So please keep supporting, though. I think you'll be excited when to be on board when things finally go. So yeah, thank you. What am I saying? Oh yeah, it's just so yeah, I think that's all the personal rambling. I don't need to go deeper, do I? Do you want to hear more? I have no idea. I can't. I don't even get enough views. I mean, I do really respect and appreciate the people who do leave comments. I mean, I occasionally get randos leaving goofy comments. The Jordan Peterson video I put up, a couple of comments. Someone pointed out that I was also wearing a hat, which hard to argue with that logic. Jordan Peterson was wearing a funny Moonwalker hat. I'm wearing a camouflage hat because it's a style choice. No, actually, it's not this original hat, but I did originally buy a camouflage hat because I went to for a Halloween costume as Larry the Cable Guy, and I needed a camouflage hat. And that was back when I had a full beard in my 20s. I had full beards all the way through my 30s, actually. Only in the last 3 years has it's been falling out. It looks so bad. God, it's so terrible. It's so bad. Why don't I shave it? Just fucking shave it. Obviously. Because shaving it is about your comfort, not mine. That's why I don't fucking shave it. I've been thinking about this one for a while. I think I probably would feel better shaving it. No choice. There is no good choice here. I guess maybe seeing a doctor, and I haven't done that. So go ahead and judge me for not doing that. I really need to just do that. I associate so much stress with medical expenses and stuff. It's so fucking stressful. It makes things... I'm not saying that's the rational choice, but anyway, yeah, I should just shave it. I mean, it's obviously there. I mean, it's almost at the point where you can tell that I'm losing my beard. No, I'm kidding. I'm not. I used to do bits about going bald and the whole notion of, yeah, I had this whole speech kind of thought I would do. I would be one of those professional speakers guys who just goes and comforts balding men and be like, look, guys, it's okay, man. Going bald isn't as bad. I mean, wait. Being bald's not as bad as going bald. It's the difference between a scar and a wound. That's partially from my old act a little bit. I'm trying. Why am I doing that? Yeah. It's me. I don't know. I feel like I have to explain it because it seems so obvious to other people. But like, I hate the way I look without a beard, and I have body image issues that I haven't dealt with yet. So I hate my double chin, and I have shitty. Like my skin is a little crappy. I don't have like that really good elastic skin that the supermodels have, stretch marks and stuff. And like, I just look horrible without a beard. Obviously, I look worse this way, but either way, I feel uncomfortable. And then when you're shaving it, though, you still have to stand in the mirror and like, it's like I'm just ignoring this part of my yard. It's like if my psyche is a barn, is a house with a property, you know, I'm just letting this part of the yard look like shit, even though it's like the most obvious part. And it's the most deeply rooted into your psyche. Certainly our human brains, no matter which sex or gender you assign to yourself, connects with the way our faces are constructed, and that is a big part of that is the beard, is the big puffy beard, or a nicely masculine not masculine, manicured. That's what nicely manicured beard. Those can look cool too. In my case, I'm just like, it's just, I might as well just put it out of my mind and then ramble about it on the podcast for the first 5 minutes. But yeah, no, it's an uncomfortable thing. I keep wanting to get on TikTok for some reason and talk about it, but I also know that I'm just inviting the demons and the gargoyles to come at me because I look weird. Yeah, there's an autism angle to it too, about being perceived. I've seen, I watch a lot of autism on Instagram and shit, and some on Twitter too. Read and watch and read comments, and I'm looking for people to share, some kind of shared experiences and feelings, and I'm learning. And like a lot of autistic folks talk about being the feeling that they're being scrutinized or perceived in some way, even though I'm doing a solo podcast, stand-up comedy, want to be a public figure of some sort because I'm putting shit on the internet and I'm trying to do videos, whatever, blah, 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 all very poorly. So that's not the same as wanting attention isn't quite the same thing. And what this does, this wakes, I had a lot of issues as a kid. I remember in middle school, teenage years, I'm still kind of like this, but if I'm in public, I just don't want to be, I want to be invisible. I don't like skulk about and like sneak through the aisles like a cat burglar, but I just hate the idea that I'm being perceived in a sense. Like I don't want to be in anybody's way. I'm not one of those people. I can be very charming and funny to like waitresses and waiters and stewardesses and stewards and cashier. I like talking to people, but I don't know. I just leave me the fuck out of the world. I've always been not of this planet, and I'm forced to move amongst the rest of y'all and within the grocery store aisles and the other stuff. And let me go home and do my thing. I'll be a nice guy. I'll be cool to you. I will hold doors open for people. I want people to feel safe around me. Like I'm very hyper conscious of when I'm like walking the same direction as someone, especially if it's a female. And if I'm going the same way, I'll stop and give her a lot of space so she doesn't feel like she's being followed. Or if I'm catching up to people, I'm super dialed in on all that shit. But it's all about that being perceived thing. I remember having major problems with it in my teener years. Like to the point of like tearing up, like just not being able to. Now I look back on that time and realize that was my autistic profile operating. And this just brings a lot of that back though. When I'm out in the world, I get really up in my head about it. People stare at me. I catch people's eyes going, oh, they can tell. It's one reason I kind of like wearing a mask, besides the fact that I don't want to die of the fucking plague or catch the pro-capitalism long COVID. Is there any better gift to a restless an unruly population, a system that is worthy and demanding to be overthrown? I think that's the ultimate lesson of what's happening in Gaza. Is this the entire fucking Western construct of society needs to be overthrown, needs to be upended, and needs to be rewritten around human dignity, around universal liberation. Fucking crazy is what's happening. I really hope it's the old world dying, because it's the boomers aren't okay. I'm getting off of that. Yeah, so the beard brings up a lot of those things. I'm mostly at peace out there. I mean, I get overstimulated by light and noise and other things, but yeah, it sucks. Okay, good. That's fine. Thank you. At least I still got some on my chin, huh? Can always just keep it there. I am probably gonna. I just throw it all out. I don't know, because shaving it sucks too. All right. Well, I feel like I should just end the show. This is all gonna get this. This was the positive part of the show. What we just did. This was the fun bit. Good times. Let's see. Yes. Oh, Valheim. I just wanted to mention. I don't know if anybody gives a shit when I play that game. It's just a podcast I do while gaming. I don't necessarily even have a format. I would love to involve other people at some point, but check out the channel for some of the more recent Valheim streams I've been doing. I recorded 2. I got 1 more to publish. I'm going to record some more because it's just I like doing it. And ultimately, if this show works out, I want to have a video game component to it because it's a great way to like just produce content and like let the thoughts flow out and give me something to react to and hopefully maybe involve other people at some point. We could have a Rocket League team. We could have a fun Rocket League team. I would be the head coach and you will have to sit there at halftime while I stand on a Gatorade bottle. We won't be able to afford a full 5-gallon bucket or whatever those are, 3-gallon. Those are pretty big gallons, actually. I think those are like 12 gallons. Those big orange buckets that they dump on the coach. We won't have one of those, but I'll get a Gatorade or a Powerade bottle. Those are pretty sturdy. I'll stand on that and I'll yell at you about inspiration. Get out there and you're going to fight. You're going to win. Those guys hate your mom. Right? And that's how you win at Rocket League. That's the secret. I do want to be a Rocket League. I want to be, and my when I fantasize about having a little Rocket League crew, because what happens in my brain is entire scenes play out all the time. Imagined conversations, oftentimes it provokes positive emotions, but more than often negative feelings. Because my emotions live in my imagination. That's why I'm so fucking tired and burnt out. I think I have 2 different emotion systems. Or okay. I when I think about the Rocket League crew, I just want to make sure that nobody gets mad about anything. And I don't mean that we don't make mistakes, but I want to be like, we don't do mad. We're not doing mad here. We're playing Rocket League. The whole point of the whole deal with this game is that we're not going to be that good anyway. I mean, I've put in quite a lot of hours, so I'm not bad at it. But like, we want to win, we want to play hard. But if you immediate forgiveness, it's all it is mistakes. The whole deal is just is quickly reacting to changing conditions and hoping that you play the probabilities better than the other team. Really, I mean, people in Rocket League get upset at strangers who they can't communicate with for screwing up, and I want to say to them, hey, buddy, Michael Jordan misses field goals sometimes. Once every year, he misses a field goal. No, like professional athletes fuck up constantly, all the time. But their probability of doing something well is much higher, except for that goddamn Angel Hernandez, that umpire. I don't watch any sports except I get Steph Curry shooting fucking balls from the goddamn parking lot into the hoop. That's a basketball guy. And then I see umpires getting yelled at by people that get upset at them for bad calls. Those are the algorithms figured out my deal with sports is. And occasionally ping pong highlights or table tennis, as they like to call it. This guy, Angel Hernandez, woo, when are we going to get rid of him? You really think that was like 7 inches outside the box, Angel? These umpires and their egos, man, they just act like they're the fucking gods here. They got robot replay stuff now. Replay the goddamn, put the robots in the umpire suits. Put them in charge. That's my sports talk, by the way. I also, when I fantasize about knowing people, I want to go on sports shows. I feel like I'd be a fun guy to do a sport, but not to be like, oh, I play sports ball. Like, what's sports? Like, I don't want to be one of those idiots who just, but like, I like sports. I'm back in my youth, which I'm still in, honestly. When I'm 80, I'm going to be like, God, I was so fucking hot when I had all that beard before my fucking forehead fell down to my nipples. I like sports. I play a lot of sports. I'm pretty athletic though. I always was like, see that? That's me throwing a football. Perfect spiral. If you're not watching on YouTube. Yeah. So, okay. Moving on to the show. Again, fucking 15 minutes of inane rambling that does nothing for anybody. That should be the name of the show. Why don't I just do that? Just do 15 minutes of inane rambling. That's perfect. I could do that. Let's jump into news. I do have a palate cleanser here. Get ready for this one. Boom. Hey, why is it stretched out? Oh, God damn it. God damn it. There it goes. Transition that over. We got to put this up somehow so it's not. I burped. Sorry about that. Sometimes I'm doing all when I fantasize day here. When I fantasize about having a relationship, it often includes burping. I'm not gonna lie to you. I want her to be comfortable burping and me. I don't want it to be like all this, but hey, we're just both disgusting gas bags. We put shit in our face, shit comes out our butt, and gases come out of both ends. The only thing we want is for gas to come out of no other hole other than the two gas vents. You're having a real bad time when gas is coming out other holes. Okay? Or, it's okay in some limited situations if you have extra holes. Yep. Enough sex talk, though. All right. So, yes. All right. I didn't switch it. That's George Santos with a baby. I don't know the context. Why does he have a baby? I have no idea. I didn't even look it up. He's holding a baby, and it's a real human baby. I'm pretty sure I can tell because the head looks exactly like mine. Bald, kind of fuzzy on the sides. And, there's a whole joke in here about a baby holding a baby. I just kind of fucked that up. But for some reason, George Santos seems to be walking away quickly holding a baby. I imagine he was trying to escape attention. It's I was going to make it human. But politicians will hide behind babies. Meaning, like, especially slimeball weirdos like George Santos. What a POV this guy's living, huh? What a crazed first-person experience. Like, if you could go to the Total Recall facility and upload or download that Mars vacation or that trip to Risa, Star Trek orgy planet, for those of you that don't know, you could just go do a George Santos life. Just weird lying. Is he having fun behind those eyes? Behind those glasses? Is this like a good deal? Like Donald Trump is the ultimate narcissist fantasy. He experiences what seems to be a lot of anger, but he's getting so much attention, being in court and stuff, doing all that. Like, that's a exciting, he's not, well, maybe narcissist, maybe that's the fundamental kind of core breakdown of narcissism, is that it's always frustrated no matter what. It can't ever be fully, truly satisfied because the artifice, it's always just projecting artifice. It's just trying to keep these paper thin bricks that you build around yourself from crumbling, and lots of sophisticated machinations can go into that. Often subconscious, generally subconscious. Raised by narcissists on Reddit. Check it out. So is he having a good time here? I don't know. He's obviously got great fashion choices. He picks out this looks like Grimace's cousin. If they made a suit out of Grimace's cousin, it's kind of a maroon, not really a purple. And then this George Santos clip turned up, which I want to watch. We're going to take a quick look at here. Let's see, I Googled or I searched for George Santos. David Pac-Man show. Get the fuck out of here.
Sympathizing in this building is unacceptable. It should not be allowed here. What is happening in Israel is abhorrent.
He's wearing the same purple maroon jacket and he's screaming. He's yelling. I wonder if this is about him about to be expelled. Oh yeah, here we go. Republicans against Trump. Just in New York, Republicans push ahead with a resolution to expel George Santos from House. Now that the House has finally elected a speaker after 3 weeks, some New York Republicans say they're going to push ahead with a formal resolution to expel George Santos, a.k.a. Anthony DeVolder. I've heard that name. New York GOP rep Lalata told CBS News he's looking for co-sponsors for the expulsion resolution. It's all organic. Everybody knows the facts of the case. The facts are not good for Mr. Santos. That's why I expect Democrats and Republicans to remove him as soon as possible. New York GOP rep Marc Molinaro said he expects a quick timetable for a vote. I got to turn this light off. It's killing me. Here, we'll go lower. Okay. That's okay. I can do that. Quick timetable for a vote on the measure. He told CBS News George Santos is a liar and a fraud who should not be a member of Congress. He does not live up to our standards. We are politicians. We are all professional liars and frauds, but this guy's really making us look bad. Do it now, it says there. So, Georgie boy, gotta give the guy props. I mean, it did seem like he might just crumple up like when you turn the power off on one of those bouncy houses or those like balloon things that advertise outside oil change places. But yeah, I've seen him in interviews over the last couple of years or whatever, and he sits there with confidence, and he's confidence mans his way through things, and he's storming around screaming, being followed. Hey, it's drawn an audience, right? No such thing as bad publicity. I think he's under some like serious legal charges too. Here, let's keep going.
Sympathizing in this building is unacceptable. They should not be allowed in here. What is happening in Israel is abhorrent. That's what it is. And the next time he tries to accost me with a child in my hand, I want him out of here.
Oh, something about somebody got a, okay, so perhaps, I don't know. I like not knowing. This is better to not know. It's like seeing a magician. You don't really want to know. I mean, of course I want to know. I'm a very intelligent brained person, and I can never get, I fall for magic so fucking hard. And not that I go, whoa, I just like, I am so determined to see what and figure it out. I never can. I do know that they put the tennis ball in the orange underneath the cup. I can get that one because I always put their hands near the edge of the table, and they're just really good about that. I've heard that like, yeah, okay, whatever. So I just don't want to know. Who gives a shit? It's just fun watching him scream and yell. I guess he was complaining about being accosted while holding a baby.
Tries to accost me with a child in my hand.
Accost me with a child in my hands. All right, so that's the okay. All right, well, here we go. God, okay. Now we're going to talk about what's going on in Palestine. I probably shouldn't. I'm going to try to keep my commentary low because I have a lot to get through. First of all, here, let's switch over to a tweet of a British broadcasting company. Oh my God. What are we doing? What is it? What are we doing here? I'm so, let's not say happy, but I'm finding some solace in the response globally. There does seem to be quite a lot of people speaking up and trying to stop this and putting their bodies on the line, putting their taking risks and protesting and getting arrested and showing up, but this whole situation is just fucking horrendous. The initial assault by Hamas set this off. The whole thing had been brewing for, I guess, millennia, I suppose, but in more recent years, and for 50, 60, 70 years of occupation. It's really a window into people and how they receive their information. I mean, one way that I have always kind of, maybe not always, but one way that I try to, I gotta put a little cover on this thing. I have like a slightly translucent bread bag that I use to kind of block the light a little bit. Those little LEDs are piercing. Okay. I try to, it's so fucking sad to see all this, to see what's happening. And I'm somebody that kind of ingests the news, usually through Twitter. I go on Reddit a decent amount, through a bunch of podcasts and stuff, and YouTube videos and things like that. And I'm working so hard on this other thing that I've kind of been keeping my head away from it a little bit, but I still check it. I still see it. I've always sort of just taken in this drip of news and information. I've worked in digital media for 10 plus years or more, although plenty of unemployment within that time. Been into politics since I was a teenager, and not really following through very well on my interest in reading more lately. But I have finished a couple of books this year. But I need to add reading and books to that diet too. My point. So watching all this stuff has just been so fucking hard, man. And I have to avoid it. So I'm not trying to present my knowledge, or what I'm saying here is obviously if you're already here with me, you know that I'm not your source for information. Like I have good faith that I'm showing you things that are true and things that are accurate, but that's part of the story here, is how difficult it is to understand what the actual honest narrative is. And that's, I think, two things. I think that's not deliberate, and it's also deliberate. I think the nature of information access, especially in the post-email era, the post-phone and letters era, meaning like since email, internet, especially social media, especially with the phones, is far more than our human brains are really designed to understand or to receive. We're pretty amazing information repositories and processing centers. I've actually impulsively wrote an outline for a documentary I'd like to make about entropy and how it relates to the information, because I want to tell people what consciousness is. Consciousness is basically just the library around which all your information is stored. Without it, you can't find the information. That's all it really is. Honestly, it's that simple. It's not really that simple. But anyway, what the fuck am I trying to say? It's so hard to ingest all this stuff and to process it, and especially when it's filled with deliberate misinformation, accidental misinformation, with bad state actors, with known liars like the United States government and the Israeli government, and with and you should be skeptical of Hamas's reporting, obviously, as well. Like all entities here, but there are there's lots of third party confirmation. I mean, people do their best. Some people, not everybody. Obviously, some people are terrible about this, but a lot of people care greatly to give accurate information or to only show or to express their bias or to express that their level of confidence with things. But so much of this is deliberate and intentional misinformation, and it really does seem to be a crop, a blooming, a blossoming, a harvest, a well laid intended garden of intentional failure. And it's not, I see the word failure makes it seem like that they tried something and they failed. It's actually quite successful to keep us stupid and to keep us tired and to keep us busy and to keep us on our able to be persuaded into the wrong assumptions. Because what's happening is that Western societies are pummeling these innocent people with a degree of ferocity that is so far out beyond anything that would consider appropriate in terms of a response. Hamas absolutely provoked a violent response. Of course, I'm sure they knew that. And they're just slaughtering children. They're starving babies, and they're killing people, and they're erasing families, and they're doing it in some cases, it seems like, with some kind of glee. But when I say they, what does that even mean? Who am I even talking about? Obviously, I'm referring to the militaries that are imposing this, but there's also a whole bunch of corporations making a shit ton of money off this, which we're going to get to a little bit later. And then there's the citizens. And so we have these, I look at it, it's partly why I have a hard time with this shit is, I mean, I think we all are. We're all feeling kind of grief. We're all dealing with unprocessed trauma, new traumas layering on top of old traumas. We're all on our own journey in that sense of trying to get our shit together. Some of us have our shit a little bit more apart than others, or a little bit less together, or whatever. And this is all happening so fast. It's all coming at us so quickly that it's so overwhelming. And one of the ways, though, that I kind of exist within this thing is that I try to look at people instead of getting angry at people, instead of seeing a person's opinion and feeling some kind of response like at that person, although that's warranted in plenty of cases for sure. That's why I try to target powerful people. I try to target people who are imposing their power on other people. But I look at people and seeing how they're reacting, even if they're being horrible, even if they're being terrible, is like they're not necessarily. You can take in the information on its face, or you can look at it as data about where they get their information and how they think and how they process this stuff. So it's a way of sort of separating from it, because if I get too deep into it, my head just, I mean, yeah, that's kind of my sort of brain is wired for over responsive. Like it's, my empathy functions like an allergy, is how I've kind of I've been working on my another project. These projects, but I want to write this book about autism, honestly, And so I've actually done some based on one of my Valheim rambling. I was talking about autism a bunch, but I wrote up this whole bunch of shit. Fuck, now I just lost my train of thought. Boy, I'm sure going to have to get this ADHD diagnosed and medicated before I can get to that autism book, huh? That's where it seems like. So, God, I haven't gotten any of these freaking clips yet. I just try to see people as they're showing me how they think and where they get their information and how they present and how they interact with others, instead of just getting immediately wrapped up in the surface layer emotion of what they're saying. And I'm not saying that those surface layer emotions aren't important. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just always kind of looking at it from more like just like those art displays. That's like the map of America. Like, and it's a bunch of stuff hanging from the ceiling, and then you rotate 90 degrees and it's all guns, or it forms into a different shape or something like that. It's like I'm always seeking other perspectives. I'm trying to circle stuff. And of course I fail at that constantly, but it's an intentional part. It's not just intentional. It's also literally my intuitive way of observing and reacting to the world. I've just always been like that. As I've come to understand from an autistic perspective, it's pattern recognition brought upon by my social dysregulation. As I've said, I have social skills, but I don't have socialization skills. So, but I've learned to watch really carefully, and that's probably a hypervigilance kind of thing, in a form of a source of some sense of safety for me. And based on all that data, I do predictive guessing. What we think is intuition, it's just actually somewhat more accurate guessing about what's about to happen based on previous recollections, which is why if I can keep my head on fucking straight and not get long COVID, I'll be amazing in my 70s, right before I die. You know? Die in a car crash in my 70s? The fuck? Okay, this is all so horrible shit. So anyway, I'm just going to play some of the stuff. Obviously, yes, I'll have a lot of shit to say, but here's a tweet. The BBC admits that it misled the public about pro-Palestinian demonstrations in the UK. So mainstream media is just like full on. I shouldn't say full on, but like the impressions that they're giving liberals and normies who are just watching news and cable news, and they're just stenographers for these war machines. They're often owned by the same companies, or run in, the churn, the Rat King solidarity, the tails intertwined, are all interwoven. There's a reason media and politicians are kind of like dueling parasites in a sense. They're sort of like two symbiotic creatures, but those two industries cycle people between them very easily. That and lawyers. So here we go.
Now, before we go, earlier on BBC News, we reported on some of the pro-Palestinian demonstrations at the weekend. We spoke about several demonstrations across Britain during which people voiced their backing for Hamas. We accept that this was poorly phrased and was a misleading description of the pro-Palestinian demonstrations. Now, here's the weather.
Now here's the weather. We endangered thousands of people with misinformation that was completely preventable. It'll be warm tomorrow. All right? It's going to be warm every tomorrow. Thanks, BBC. Way to correct it. I'm not going to get into the ins and outs, the details, and all the stuff of the concept of being like pro. Just starting the framing from calling something, are you pro-Palestine? Are you pro-Israel? Are you anti-Hamas? Are you anti... This speaks to the simplicity of like even Joe Biden calling it the other team, as he said a few weeks back or whatever. And they're mischaracterizing a lot of people, and a lot of people are being there's being blacklisted. Like this is part of this violence of this immune system of America and Western society's reliance on violence as a source of both a source of safety and a source of emotional comfort. I guess that's safety and emotional comfort are kind of linked, aren't they? But it also requires that it keeps the people ready and primed to be okay with these atrocities. I didn't actually get the tweet ready for it. I probably should, but Sarah Silverman I follow her on Instagram for a while, and she would do these like podcast things where she'd answer questions, and she always seemed like such an empathic and thoughtful and kind person. And I really don't want to give her for me, the concept of bad faith, it's been coming up a lot in some of the stuff and a lot of this, and because so much of what we're seeing is mischaracterization of other people, and I think that's a way to detect bad faith. Like when you're assessing someone's credibility, it all basically comes down to good faith versus bad faith. You can be wrong operating from good faith, and I'll give you space to correct that, or even just understanding that your intentions were okay. Then there's bad faith, and to me, the kind of mechanism for bad faith is, or that's the detectable, the way like the mushroom is just the visible part above the ground, but there's a whole bunch of mushroom stuff below in the dirt. The mushroom cap of bad faith is, how do you characterize someone you disagree with? How readily, or how accurately, or how much care do you add to if you're tasked with characterizing an argument you're against? Do you give them good faith? In other words, can you show that you actually are accurately or somewhat accurately representing what that person is saying, or what they're thinking, or what the argument is? Or are you, and this is where bad faith is very easy to spot, are you injecting a bunch of assumptions, or are you adding a bunch of stuff that doesn't need to be there? Or are, you can tell when someone mischaracterizes an argument they disagree with. Well, you're saying this and this, and then they jump off on an argument. And like the recent, I don't know if anybody's going to pick up, like maybe if you're watching this on YouTube, you probably will, but like there was a Vosh and Emma Vigeland and Destiny were all on like a panel. This was during that weekend with Ro Khanna. They were doing like hanging out in DC or some shit. And I hadn't really seen much of that Destiny guy, and he would just totally mischaracterize the way Emma described something, or the way he was positioning himself in contrast to them. And I know that guy has like a big audience, but it was very bad faith. At least I was just like, wow, that just doesn't, it's not even accurate at all. Like, you're not even trying. I mean, it's like, but it's also it's deceptive. I don't even necessarily think it's intentionally deceptive, but it seems to be an indication of a different set of priorities, I guess, is what bad faith. So what am I saying anyway? I don't know. Let's just go to the next one. Oh, Joe Biden.
We're the most powerful nation in the history of the world. We can take care of Israel and Ukraine and still maintain our overall international defense.
Shut the fuck up, Joe Biden. Here he is talking.
Are the wars in Israel and Ukraine more than
That's Scott Pelley from 60 Minutes. He's like really jacked. He's like all fucking muscular.
the United States can take on at the same time?
We're the United States of America, for God's sake.
Come on, man.
The most powerful nation in the history, not in the world, in the history of the world. The history of the world. We can take care of both of these and still maintain our overall international defense.
Jesus Christ. Like, you're getting defensive. No, we can do all kinds of wars, idiot. We got all the power, motherfucker. We treat our people like complete shit. Our stress dividends are huge.
Our stress dividends are just enormous. This guy's podcast, Winners and Losers, he talks about it like every once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're a big, powerful country because we're the most violent, and we're the beating heart, I've heard America described as kind of the imperial core of, the colonization project and the Western capitalistic hegemony. I think of America as the circuit breaker, as like the what's the word? I'm looking at the bottom right of my computer screen to help me remember. The system tray, the malware, the antivirus software. If America has to hold capitalism. It's the final line, because we export our foreign policy. And let me say this too. I don't really talk a lot of foreign policy on my show, if you've noticed. It's not something I feel qualified to do a ton of, because it's often way more complicated than I can get my head around due to various reasons. But also there's lots of other people that do a much better job at it. So I don't necessarily get into foreign policy. I always find it weird when people do podcasts and stuff and they get all expertise about it all. I try not to do that. But nevertheless, there is an international dimension to what's going on in the world. I think the world is long overdue for a worker revolution that overthrows all this fucking bullshit, that all this violence, all this stress, all this chaos. We have to, because the people in charge are not, they pretend to be serious, but it's all a fucking show. They're all trauma victims. They're all traumatized children in adult bodies telling the same lies their evil grandparents told. In other words, we're reliving cycles of violence that make sense because we're afraid of healing our own pain and facing our own pain collectively. And it's all in design of sustaining the individualization, the atomization of humanity in order to increase leverage for workers, or against workers. That's all it is. But America is the firewall. I think that's the word I was trying to think of. America is the firewall for capitalism. We export. If America started even nominally embracing more socialistic principles, there's a whole nother conversation about social. Like when people talk about like the roads, that's socialism. The businesses, that's capitalist. Like it's so simplistic. Or Americans, even just having government provide services isn't socialism, but it's socialist principles of looking after people and redistributing wealth in some way and providing. So there's some nuance. I think that's actually. I have a broad notion of all that myself, but it's easy to get pedantic, I think is what I mean. But if America folds its capitalist fortress into and becomes something closer to a social democracy like in Northern Europe, that would save a lot of lives. That would produce a lot of money still, because those are capitalist nations. Healthy people produce quite well. It would solve a lot of problems that we currently have, but it wouldn't solve the overconsumption problem in any stretch. And it would also still leave a lot of people behind. And culturally, I think we've got generations of work to do, even if we tried, which we're not going to. We're only just going to let our brains get emulsified by technology and long COVID and stress into whatever the fuck Elon Musk wants us to become so that he can put chips in our brains. But America could be such a source for good in the world. When you learn about all the right-wing coups America supported, all the right-wing dictators throughout the world over all the years, especially in the last 60, 70 years, the project of America is a permanent counter-revolutionary operation to prevent humanity from asserting its own right to dignity. And we do that with violence and with corporate influence. And they have to keep America rabidly capitalist because it has to set the low watermark. Canada, other countries that are also capitalist Western nations can point at us and say, well, we're not as bad as them. Look at that house down the street. The big one over there with all those fucking crazy people shooting guns and fireworks all the time. They make some pretty good movies, but we're not like that. We're not like them. So be happy with your shitty dental care that you don't have to pay for. Canadians, you're not like an American. I don't know if they get dental care in Canada. I'm not trying to pick on my Canadian friends. So America has to hold. America is the front, the line that must not break for capitalism to continue. Because an America that actually asserted its own power by taking care of its citizens instead of taking care of its bosses and privileging its owners to do whatever they want to people, we could not, I don't know about rapid. I mean, I guess that all depends on your scale, but we could change the world with that. That would be a threat to the capitalism worldwide. Would be an America that actually cares to export humane policies and stuff and uses, we could, because that's what we do. We tie like our drug laws. America has all sorts of, the origins of the drug wars is rooted in severe and brazen white supremacist ideology, and in using state violence to go after political opponents and cultural opponents. Political and cultural opponents, kind of same thing in that context. It's as stated by the people who started it, by Nixon and his cronies. They were explicit about that. But we add that to our foreign policy package. So we require other countries to enact and impose American-style drug ideology, anti-drug ideology. It's just an example of the ways that we have fucking wrecked this planet with our bullshit, with that kind of stuff. What am I getting? I'm just going on and on here. Jesus Christ. Going to do a freaking podcast for every single one of these videos. Okay. So White House press secretary, we're here going to go back to October 13th, 2023. This is at the earlier start. Karine Jean-Pierre. I really like that name. It's a nice name. Response to U.S., but she's a horrible person, by the way. Just a mouthpiece for empire and violence. To U.S. House progressives, proposing talks for a ceasefire in the Gaza war was wrong, disgraceful, and repugnant. So if you're calling for a ceasefire, the spokesperson for our executive branch says that's repugnant.
What is the president's message to...
Okay, the pool should start leaving, and then we're going to take this last question.
Thank you, Green. What is the president's message to members of Congress who seem to be equating the Hamas terror attack with actions that were previously taken by Israel?
Say that one more time. Everybody's moving around. I apologize.
What is the president's message to members of Congress who seem to be equating the Hamas terror attack with actions that were previously taken by Israel?
Look, here's the thing, and which congressional members?
Well, there have been some members of Congress who have called for a ceasefire, and they have not gone as far as backing the administration's call for support for Israel.
So look, I've seen some of those statements this weekend, and we're going to continue to be very clear. We believe they're wrong. We believe they're repugnant, and we believe they're disgraceful. Our condemnation.
Ceasefire, calls for ceasefire, because what she's trying to do is she's trying, and probably successfully in a lot of people's minds, is she's equating anybody who says stop killing those people with you're for killing Israelis, because that makes you pro-Hamas, pro-terrorist, pro-Pal. They're equating the concept of supporting Palestinian people and Palestinian liberation with wanting to kill Israelis. And so she's repulsed by this completely fabricated bullshit, violent sinews. They need these emotional and these intellectual, well, let's not call it intellectual, but they need these informational sinews to thread through and to get you to not accept your humanity, which is what I lost the track on the Sarah Silverman thing. And I was trying to, that's where the bad faith thing came up, and how Sarah Silverman tweeted this or reposted a thing on Instagram that went viral, essentially endorsing starving children and killing people with thirst, stating something along the lines like they don't have to provide. Why doesn't Hamas provide their own water, which is not possible. Israel won't allow that, and endorsing that. And yeah, there's more to that whole thing. I didn't mean to get, but sorry, I just had to square that circle there real quick. So here she is. She says, I'm going to rewind it just a little bit. She'll talk about how it's repulsive or it's repugnant to her.
Again, and we're going to continue to be very clear. We believe they're wrong. We believe they're repugnant, and we believe they're disgraceful. Our condemnation belongs squarely with terrorists who have brutally murdered, raped, kidnapped hundreds of Israelis. There can be.
I mean, they've killed. This is, by this point, this what I'm about to say was not true, but as of late October, they've killed like 33,000, 3,500 children. The amount of stress and terror and fear and trauma and absolute just nightmarish pain that so many people in Palestine are suffering under. It's horrifying. And it also is horrifying that, I mean, my heart breaks for everybody in Israel. My heart breaks for the fucking people doing the violence. The soldiers on all sides, the people picking up weapons, anybody desperate enough to use violence for any reason is someone that I have compassion for. I can obviously dispense my compassion points with some proportionality. But all of it is tragic. It's all fucking tragic that this is where things are. And then you have it's one of the most powerful people on the planet. Karine Jean-Pierre is a spokesperson for the White House. It's a huge responsibility of a job. She'll get a great job on MSNBC, just like her predecessor did, Jen Psaki. But here she is lecturing people on that it's repugnant and repulsive and disgraceful. She didn't say repulsive. I keep adding that. To want to stop this murder. Stop beating him. No, that's repugnant. Stop the violence. No. We need the violence. The violence is making the stocks go up right now.
Be no equivocation about that. There are not two sides here. There are not two sides. President Biden has been clear on where he has stood. You heard from him directly today. You heard from him also on Saturday on this. There's been multiple statements from this president.
This is around the time where where Biden was falsely stating that, about the beheaded babies, completely failing his job, his charge to be truthful and to tell the truth and to vet information properly. And that kind of stuff, even though I don't think you can source it directly, but that contributes to the murder of that Palestinian kid in Chicago, in Illinois, whose landlord was in a bloodlust fervor. I'm not saying that to excuse him, but he was worked into this, and he went and he stabbed this kid a bunch of times. A 6-year-old fucking kid. And Joe Biden had bloods on his hands, bloods on Karine Jean-Pierre's hands. I mean, that's what's so kind of intense about what's happening, is that we're really seeing who people are these days. And like I say, like in a good faith sense, I think people deserve, I think if people are going to say something or do something that seems incongruous with what I want to feel and what I believe, it's okay to offer space for that. I'm not saying it's okay to accept it, but it's okay to offer space that you might have misunderstood something, or maybe, that's the way I try to apply good faith to stuff. But this person has a responsibility to diffuse the situation, and this is just like cops escalating. What am I supposed to do? Let the guy drive off without me beating him up? That's not what I'm here for. It's not what we have all those meetings about.
And he's taking action to provide additional support to ensure that Israel has what they need to defend themselves.
Oh, to defend themselves. So flattening children and grandmas is necessary for their safety. It's fucking gross, man. Here's Karine Jean-Pierre again, October 30th. So we've advanced 17 days. Ryan Grimm, reporter extraordinaire. I think he actually worked at TUIT for a little bit of a time. So I could say colleague. No. The White House just compared. This is Ryan talking. The White House just compared, quote, anti-Israel protesters, the phrase used by the Fox News reporter in his question, to the white supremacists who marched in Charlottesville. So our genocidal leadership is really grasping here. They're really reaching for something. Let's hear this.
Doesn't Biden think the anti-Israel protesters in this country are extremists?
What I can say is what we've been very clear.
Let me start over. I couldn't stop looking at this guy. This is Steve Ducey's dopey son, Dopey Ducey. And he's a Nepo baby, but I think his mom must be Big Bird. I don't know why I had to say that, but that's just what came out of my head, and it's not even that funny. Sorry, starting over.
Doesn't Biden think the anti-Israel protesters in this country are extremists?
What I can say is what we've been very clear about this. When it comes to anti-Semitism, there's no place. We have to make sure that we speak against it very loud and be very clear about that. Remember, what the president decided when the president decided to run for president is what he saw in Charlottesville in 2017, when he saw neo-Nazis marching down the streets of Charlottesville with vile anti-Semitic just hatred. And he was very clear then, and he's very clear now. He's taken actions against this over the past 2 years, and he's continued to be clear. There is no place for this type of vile and despite this kind of rhetoric.
And we hear you guys.
Yeah, that's clumsy. Just trying to get my head around that logic. So the guy mentioned anti-Israel protesters being considered extremists, and she said, well, the president did run against the extremist Nazis that were marching, and so it is a conflation, I think would be a word.
You guys don't talk about extremists all the time. It is usually about MAGA extremists. So what about these protesters who are making Jewish students feel unsafe on college campuses? Are they extremists?
I've been very, very clear. We are calling out any form of hate. Any form of hate. It is not acceptable. It should not be acceptable here.
As if the reason why this immune system is going into effect and is charging itself up to police each other, to confuse people through the media, and then use that to confuse and exhaust and make people fight over information that might not be in alignment, as if none of that is based on anti-Muslim racism and anti-Arab and racism against Arabs. I don't even know the right language to speak about it as I'm saying those words. I feel like I'm probably fucking, but like so much of this is fucking straight up racism. It's straight up Zionism, looking down on Arabs and white. And American has this evangelical power core here that powers the right wing and Trump's base, and they're completely motivated by the elimination of the Jews through the fucking goddamn it, the apocalypse. Well, there's a D word. Why can't I come up with it? Their whole project is about bringing Jesus back, a Palestinian guy, by the way, via reclaiming, what the fuck is the word? It's a D word. Reclaiming parts of the Holy Land or some shit. They have this whole dominion. Is it dominionist? Is that the word I'm thinking of? Notion of why we need to support Israel is so that we can eventually get to a point where we eliminate Israel. It's deeply anti-Semitic. I don't know. I don't want to sit here and act like I'm the one that should be deciding what is anti-Semitic or what isn't. Obviously, I could certainly pick it out when I see it, but it's the way this is being used though is just really gross to me. Is that like she's acting like they're the moral they're upholding the moral standards here while we're shipping bombs and parking our immense military vehicles outside outside in the territorial waters in order to protect Israel in order to defer or deflect or deter Jesus, in order to deter any other states from attacking, because this could escalate really quickly, really fast. And the United States is standing there positioned to deter that, but also to get into a fight if it has to go down. So just start blowing shit up while they're slaughtering these people, while they're erasing people and just blowing them up and using illegal weapons too. It's crazy that we have all these rules of war and stuff, but Israel violates them constantly with white phosphorus. And she's sitting here acting like they're the ones that are upholding good, strong morals. They're the real fighters here. It's bullshit.
And we are going to continue to call that out. And let me be very clear. This is a president that has continued to have that fight in his office, in this administration. You know, when he repealed Trump's Muslim ban on his first day in office, that is something that this president did. He also established an inter-policy committee to counter Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, and related forms of bias and discrimination. We have taken this very, very, very seriously, from the president all the way on down.
Mm-hmm. All the way on down to the defense contractors that are going to ship their shrapnel into the Israeli planes that are going to then evacuate people's brains and slaughter people. I'm not even sure. It's just all gross, man. Let's just keep going. Another White House jagoff, John Kirby. This is a tweet, Remy Kanazi. The Palestinian Ministry of Health just released the names and IDs of all 7,208 Palestinians massacred by the Israeli. Blank there. But we still get this genocide-denying propaganda from the Biden White House. Absolutely disgusting.
The president yesterday, John, said he has no confidence in the death toll numbers presented by the Palestinians in Gaza. What's he basing that on? How did he reach this conclusion?
Well, we all know that the Gazan Ministry of Health is just a front for Hamas. It's run by Hamas, a terrorist organization. I've said it myself up here. We can't take anything coming out of Hamas, including the so-called Ministry of Health, at face value.
Israeli TV is showing like totals for people that they kill, and it says terrorists, and it's 7,000. It's around the same number. There are lots of independent verification systems here, and Hamas is the elected government although there hasn't been an election since 2006. And it was heavily supported and boosted by Netanyahu and the Israeli government. And I don't know if it's the majority, but a huge percentage of the people in Palestine are children who weren't even alive in 2006. So this is part of war crimes cover up. This is part of the laying the groundwork for genocide denial that we're doing here. I don't think it's going to work. I think that there's a generational gap here that is going to hold these people, at least, I don't know if it's, I mean, honestly, we all have such short memories. We're all so used to things being terrible and things being scary. And there's going to be other events and other things in our world that are going to probably consume our attention. I mean, I hope this doesn't lead to World War III, just something global. I honestly think it probably will spark off into some kind of small engagements. There's a lot of people gunning for that, but it's a different media environment these days, which is why, like the usefulness, even though it's incredibly confusing, but comparatively speaking, radio and newspaper dispatches from someone who might be on a payphone or something like that is a lot less. There's a lot less velocity to that than internet and texting and phones, videos, cameras, blah blah blah, everything we have today. Which is why Israel blocked out communications. I guess they restored internet access, but they shut down all communications that they could to turn the lights off on the. I mean, that is so fucking scary. If you turn the lights off so that people don't see your violence, you're the bad guys in that situation. When I say turn the lights off, I mean blackout communication. And so part of that, though, is that, and this, I think he's referring to Joe Biden saying that he can't trust Hamas's numbers. Is that they don't want to act like they're killing people. They're trying to confuse you. They're trying to keep the violence machine turning. It's really fucking gross. I was thrown off that this guy had glasses on in that one shot because he takes them off at some point. I don't know, that really tripped me up. Naomi Klein tweeted this. I actually didn't watch it yet. It's an MSNBC, so this is just from her. It's Ali Velshi. I don't know where he is. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's in Israel. I'd be stunned if he's in Gaza, actually, obviously. Oh, yeah, Ashkelon, Israel, 7:13 p.m. He's wearing a blue press jacket. This is a MSNBC guy.
Zygon about his 74-year-old mother, Vivian Silver. I just visited with him in Tel Aviv to get an update on the situation. He was so troubled by what is happening right now. So he was sort of trying to channel his mother, who, as you know, is a peace and reconciliation activist who was living on a kibbutz next to Gaza. I asked him what he thought of the moment.
Just to be clear, I'm reading this text. This guy's mother he's talking about is likely among those kidnapped. So this guy's mom is being held by Hamas, and she's a lifelong peace activist.
We need to stop the violence now. Vengeance is not a strategy. We need to negotiate, and we need to get the captives out. That's what I'm saying. I call on everybody, on the Israeli government, on Hamas, and Canada, everybody, to put pressure on both sides to negotiate and to get the captives out.
His mother, a 74-year-old woman who lived in a kibbutz on the border of Gaza, was a peace activist. Her entire life was devoted to not just peace in the abstract, but reconciliation with Palestinians. One of the problems with Gaza is healthcare is not particularly good there for various reasons. They're blockaded and always have been from getting certain equipment. So if you've got cancer, you have to leave Gaza to get that treatment. She was one of those people who meets you on the Israeli side to take you for that treatment. I asked him what he knew, what the latest was this morning on the condition or the status of his mother.
October 13th, 2023. So this is pretty early in this whole deal.
I know for a fact is that her body isn't in the house. Other than that, we do have indications, rumors, we have strong assumptions that she is being held in Gaza. But I'm careful because I don't really know.
I asked him what he wants the world to know about his mother.
I want to tell her I miss her. how much she means to me, to my kids, and to so many people all over the world, and that we're waiting for her.
How are your kids?
They keep their childhood intact. It's not a really healthy home right now because their parents are preoccupied. My daughter said, so who's gonna make me my birthday?
Okay. Yeah, that's sad. You know, and there's a ton of Israelis standing up against the right-wing Netanyahu government. They're cracking down pretty hard on pro. I think there are some indications, I don't know if this actually happened, but they were going to pass a law allowing using live fire on protesters if needed. I don't know all the details on that one, so don't, look it up before you start talking about it on your first dates. And this is just like, even for the Israelis who are caught up in their vengeance and in wanting to just do what they're doing, who are supporting it. That's also a stress that is a failure. It's a failure. It's not a failure because the governments actually want the world to be like this, but those are also losses. Every bit of stress, every single time someone does something stressful in general, even in a very kind of mathematical sense, is to me a sign of a society heading the wrong direction, of a society that's failing that person every single bit. All the way, obviously, of course, the people who are killed and people who are in the direct line of fire, but to those who are committing it and to those who are doing it, and especially at the kind of operational level, meaning like the soldiers and the decision making, the command side is where I start to turn my ire, because if anybody deserves violence, it's the people who make these decisions. And it's just so horrible that we all have to raise kids who are exposed to this kind of stress, and not just this kind of stress, but even just the dated. I mean, this is getting into my own notion of the world we should build is one where parenting is as easy as possible, where we do community parenting. Two-parent households is like a recent invention of the American capitalist society that completely upends millions of years of human beings evolving into into communities who look after children collectively. You might have primaries or something, but if you're in the past, if we're in 70,000 before Christ, how far back does it go before it gets weird? BCE before, if it's 6 million BC, if it's 95 million BC, the dinosaurs are like, man, we could sure use a Palestinian dude right now. But 70,000 years ago, say you're in some community, if you're being raised by just two people and nobody else, you're in a severely dangerous situation. Things have gone very, 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 very bad. If during the evolutionary time, I mean, I guess in a sense we're still evolved. We never really turn off evolution, but we certainly fuck with it. We certainly mess it up. But if you're all the way back then and there's nobody around except your two parents, you're in, and I'm not just saying danger because the animals are big and scary back then, because we haven't yet killed the mastodons and the giant ninja sloths that used to jump around. But you need a community. It's so fucking hard to be a parent, to have a two-parent household. It is so brutal that we do single-parent households, that some people do that, and they have no other choice. You have to do a bad job raising your kid. Being a shitty parent is involuntary in America in a lot of situations, because we don't build the community around them. Yes, in some ways, I'm not saying it's literally 0 or it's literally 100. There's some degree of nuance. There's obviously a lot of nuance to this. But if you're lucky, you have some support. Maybe you have relatives that live close by. Maybe, but we should design a society so that that's just fucking default. The government's going to be there for you. There's going to be always access to healthcare. There's always going to be access to childcare for no fucking money. We look after each. I mean, it's a whole different world, man. It's a whole goddamn different kind of world. But the ambient exposure, I guess, just to wrap this thought, the ambient exposure that that children are exposed to just by having their parents hustling around looking for fucking money all the time, working all the time, and the stress that flows from the sort of abusive systems, the way employment is itself, I think, a highly disordered, highly dysregulating and abusive system overall. That ambient stress is enough, in my opinion, to diminish a person's potential. And that's the goal of our current society, is that you only get stressed out parents about their jobs. That's the fucking goal. If you're lucky, you get that. And so many people don't. All right, next clip here. Fucking John Fetterman. So this guy, I don't know. I haven't really talked about him much or something. I've been watching, seeing John Fetterman coming up. He's this big dude from Ohio, right? Is it Ohio? Fucking hell, God damn it. I should know that. It might be Pennsylvania. Yeah, Pennsylvania. Jesus, the Commonwealth. So this guy, Daniel M. Kovalik is the dude here. So he deserves credit for this one. He's like I guess he's a lawyer, professor, and author of several books, which can be found here. So that's his Twitter, 37,000 followers. He is doing I don't know the guy's whole deal. I've only seen this video, but he's showing up in front and getting into a senator's face, and he's challenging him on his policies. And John Fetterman's come out in strong support of the occupation and of slaughtering Palestinians, phrasing it in ways that make it seem, he's just totally, and there's good reasons why we could assume or why we might think that he's trying to avoid being, having political forces activated against him if he did speak out. So very, very, very few of our politicians have spoken out. This is a critical moment for that. This is one of those. Bernie Sanders has been a real big fucking disappointment in that too. Elizabeth Warren calling it the hospital bombing a blast, just this mystery blast. We don't know. Could it be the state that says they bomb hospitals? Nah, just a blast. Who knows what happened? Anyway, this guy, Dan, gets in John Fetterman's face, and then John has one of his goons get rid of him. And the part that jumps out to me, though, if you watch this, is watch John Fetterman. People are pointing out his hands. He's got this kind of I will just listen. He does this with his hands up against his chest. He's a big, tall dude. There's no reason why this guy should have been physically intimidated by this. This guy's being a little intense. The guy, Dan here. But then John just gives the nod. That's the part John just sort of gives the guy one of his I don't know if it's Bebop or Rocksteady, but one of his goons he gives a heads up to, and then this dude gets really physical with him.
Why aren't you supporting a humanitarian ceasefire? I'm with the Senators team. If you'd like, I can talk to him. No, I can talk to. I voted for him. I'm sorry, this is a democracy. It absolutely is. Yeah, but kind of, sort of. Why? 10,000 people in Gaza have been killed. Half are children. The Pope's calling for a ceasefire. The UN is called for it.
The Pope's calling for a ceasefire. Why aren't you, John Fetterman? I would like the fire to cease. Why did I have to do that? Sorry, I shouldn't have done it. I can't not do that.
I'm just asking you. You're a good guy. I voted for you. I know you're a nice guy. This is important. You need to leave. Here, can I give you a phone?
There he goes. The guy's in big shorts, hoodie, shoving this Dan guy out the door.
He just assaulted him.
That's the camera, the guy holding the camera, the one talking. That's why his audio sounds better.
He just assaulted him. He was just talking to him. He's assaulted him.
Great handling of it, John. Fucking bloodthirsty warmonger. So I just want you to see this bit here right before. So watch John's eyes. He looks at the guy, then he looks down and away. Now he's kind of looking, but then when he connects with his buddy right before the guy gets touched. Right here, John's eyes turn. This is like that mob boss thing. This is true of all kind of relationships you have with someone who gives you orders. If they give you an eye look, I always wonder in movies though too. Sorry, this is just a quick aside. Where the queen or the king or some evil military commander or something, and they just go like they do this. They'll look right at the camera and then they just kind of turn their head to sort of indicate, okay, I've had enough time for. And then his one of his goons will chop someone apart or do something crazy. I'm always just like, what if you misread that? Like, it's always so subtle. It's always just like, and this is extremely subtle here, but these guys know what's about. I mean, the dude is ready to go. And so here's John's eyes looking at the guy, and he's about to be grabbed by the other dude. But watch John Fetterman's eyes.
This guy, this is
Yeah, quick nod of the head. He goes, and then the hands.
Can I get this?
And I like that John Fetterman apparently reproduces the same way the Gremlins do, where if he gets a Pabst Blue Ribbon spilled on him at a dartboard at a sports bar, he produces within a couple 20 minutes or so. He produces a smaller versions of himself, beefy wet hams with big shorts and hoodies. I am in my sweatpants. I am going to be a sweatpants guy for the rest of my life, by the way. Just want you to know that. Any prospective ladies out there? Why am I doing that? So there you go. There you go. There's the violence system, though. There's the accountability for the people who have some influence being pushed away, being diminished, and hopefully people get the message about how much of a piece of shit John Fetterman is for doing this. It's really fucking gross, man. All right. Okay, yeah, this one is interesting. This is a movie, a clip from a movie somebody put on Twitter here, but I went to the IMDb called Tantura. It's a 2022 documentary. I'll just read the description here from IMDb. In the War of 1948, hundreds of Palestinian villages were depopulated. Israelis call it the War of Independence. Palestinians call it Nakba. The film examines one village, Tantura, and why Nakba is taboo in Israeli society. So I watched a bit of this, just only the first 45 seconds or so of this. It's pretty grisly stuff here. I mean, these are guys that were alive back then, like soldiers and stuff, that committed some terrible things. These are Israelis talking, I'm pretty sure. So I'll read the subtitles here. In the War of Independence, we knew one simple thing. It's either me or them. A state is seized by the sword. It's a different guy now. That's what my father told me. You take a country by force, and he's shaking his fist, and it says Yiddish. Of course we killed them, this guy says. He's got a lot of old people blemishes, whatever they call those. We killed them without remorse. If you killed, you did a good thing. Here's another guy. I like his shirt. If you killed, you did a good thing, he says. Another guy here. I was willing to kill. I didn't talk to anyone about it. Jeez, they're just really jumping. Here's another guy. Me reading this is probably fucking this up. What about your wife? I assume you lived with her for many years. Okay, you didn't talk about it? I never told her. What would I tell her? That I was a murderer? Okay, I'm not going to do this for the entire thing. I just realized me reading this shit is really not good for the podcast. But maybe we'll just watch it, and I'll shut the fuck up after I do a little bit more here. So now it's, I'm not sure who's speaking, but undoubtedly it was a combination of all kinds of things. Of vengeance and cruelty and people who came from. Some people came from the death camps. The question is, what happened there that people were in such a trance that based on several testimonies, they released their anger on everyone they saw. He took a step back, he drew his gun, bang, 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 he killed them all. And he's like shaking his hand, kind of bang, bang, bang. They removed them from the homes in pajamas. They took them like cows in front of them and killed them. During battle, this guy's talking, this is the guy that laughed about not telling his wife that he's a murderer. During battle, if someone raised hands, I didn't take captives. All right, I'll stop reading after that. This guy's done. How many people do you think you killed this way? The question. I didn't count. Chuckle, chuckle. I made up. I added the chuckle part. I can't really know. Okay. God, it's horrible. I mean, this is the violence imposed thanks to American and British post World War II world, geopolitical world making that they were trying to do. I'm not going to sit and act like I understand every decision that was made during that time, but they came at these people living in Palestine, Palestinians, with extreme violence. And it's a safe bet to assume that the people committing all this violence were operating from some severely traumatized places. I don't know. Maybe just because the guy's I don't know. Maybe the guy's feeling good about it. I have no fucking idea. We'll watch the rest here. I'll shut the fuck up. And here's I think this guy's about to describe a rape or something. He grabbed a woman, young and good looking. Went into a house. I'll just finish this one. This sucks. It's just brutal, man. Prepared a bedroom and wanted to fuck her. Okay. Sorry, I gotta keep reading it. The girl came back half dead, like a rag. God.
אחד אנס שם איזה ילדה בת 16, משהו כזה. אתה מבין? אבל זה מכוער מאוד. היה לנו בחור אחד, הוא נפטר, הוא היה פרא אדם. הוא לקח פשוט מאוד ורצח אותם בתוך המכלאות. חוטי ברזל כאלה, עגולים כאלה, אספו כל הגברים. הם יושבים שם כולם על הרצפה, ובא מישהו ולוקח תת מקלע ומתחיל זה, מחליף מחסנית. מה אתה חושב? זה חבר'ה שלקחו את הלוויורים ורדפו אחרי חבר'ה ושרפו אותם.
He's saying people took flame. This is hard to watch. The guy yeah. So just brutal violence. This is in 1948. Yeah. So here's just some websites for that movie about Tantura. When Israeli graduate student Teddy Katz meticulously documented a massacre of Palestinian civilians surrounding Israel's independence, he was initially celebrated for his groundbreaking work, but soon he was stripped of his degrees and was publicly shamed as a fraudulent traitor. Decades later, incendiary new evidence emerges to corroborate Teddy's initial findings, not just vindicating him, but raising profound questions about how Israelis, and we all, deal with the darker chapters of history. Yeah, this refers to that immune system that kicks in to make anybody trying to show the truth, trying to steer towards accuracy, towards honesty, is being rejected and corrected in order to appease the violence and the people that are in charge. This is fucking crazy. So, all right, well, I'll have to watch that someday. I really want to. I know this is not the right sudden turn, but I really want a girlfriend who I watch this shit with, but that's not I wouldn't present this as being like a fun date. I mean, I just don't want to watch this alone is what I mean. Oh God, it's brutal. Okay. Geez. Another chart here. Jason Hickel on Twitter posted from the sources Visualizing Palestine, 1987 to 2022. Palestinian and Israeli children killed. Take one guess which color is the Palestinians. You can barely see the Israelis. It's like light orange kind of color below. So there's been a few years where some Israeli kids were killed, and that's horrifying. But there's huge red. There's a giant red bar here in 2023. Over 3,000. 1987 to October 29th, 2023. So just little babies, little fucking... God. I'm sorry. This is horrible. This is such a brutal. This is tough stuff, man. Democracy Now! Here. Celebrated Hunter College professor Rosalind Pachesky was arrested at a sit-in organized by Jewish American activists from JVP Live in New York City. I'm older than the state of Israel, she told Democracy Now! That's why we're here, to say not in our name. Let's hear Rosalind.
Palestinians have been the victims of oppression for 75 years, and it has to stop. That's why why we're here, to say not in our name. I am older than the state of Israel.
There's Jewish prayers in the background. The sun is going down and it's the Jewish Sabbath.
It is. And on Shabbat, we have to pray. We have to recommit ourselves to justice. I believe that Judaism and Jewish ethics, this is how I grew up thinking, are about justice and about Rabbi Hillel's statement, if I am not for myself, who am I? And if I'm only for me, what am I doing here? I glossed over it a little bit. And if not now, when? Now. Peace now. Ceasefire now. President Biden and Blinken, listen to what people are telling you, especially the young people and lots of Jews.
Okay, good for you. Thank you, Rosalind. I was looking up this. I couldn't find. I don't know if this is the exact one I listened to. It was this little excerpt of Seth Rogan and Marc Maron on Marc Maron's show, and they're talking about that they were misled. I think the word they used was lied to about. I don't know if this is that though. About growing up Jewish and you're taught all this stuff about Israel's origins that they've learned as adults weren't true. I'm not sure if this is what that is, but let's hear what they have to say. Hopefully we'll hear. I think if we hear Seth Rogen's big laugh, he's got the biggest, craziest laugh. It always makes me smile. Okay. Great. Okay, now we're doing one of these infographic videos. I used to make these kinds of fucking things with the Young Turks. They didn't really lean too hard into this stuff, but anyway. After saying he was fed lies about the creation of the state of Israel.
I also think that as a Jewish person, like, I was fed a huge amount of lies about Israel my entire life. You know, they never tell you that. Oh, by the way, there were people there. They make it seem like it was just like they're sitting there.
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
like
yeah.
the doors open.
Hours for the taking.
Like, it literally, they forget to include the fact to every young Jewish person, basically, like, oh, by the way, there were people there. I'm afraid of Jews. I'm 100% afraid of Jews.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. It would be nice.
I don't like that they're editing it into that quote. I mean, obviously he's speaking in the context of like violence being committed by, but yeah, it's a little, this is not the version I wanted to play, but okay, let's keep going.
To live somewhere that was not a part of the Christian apocalyptic prophecy is also probably a good idea. It's like, maybe settle somewhere that the Christians don't think you all have to die in order for the
yeah, and then they want us all to go there. They need a certain number of
They need
Jews.
us to go there so we can die, so the apocalypse.
But
that's that Christian dominionist thing I was talking about earlier.
Could you imagine living in Israel? Would you ever go live in Israel?
No, it would be...
I'm the same way, and we're going to piss off a bunch of Jews.
Boy, if I was Jewish, I'd be yelling at my Jewish friends a lot. Which means I would fit in. They seem, yeah. Boy, this is some tough stuff, man. Okay, so, but it's not all bad news. It's not all bad news. It's actually things working as designed. Money is being made. Profits are flowing. Big investment. So that's something I was thinking about. Is each one of these incidences of violence, and this is true of all violence, I guess, using machinery, using machines designed to kill people, is that someone usually, I guess unless it's homemade, but somebody built it and made a profit off of it, which means there's a receipt, which means there's a engineering drawing and a computer thing that tells the machines how to build it, and that there's a factory or a assembly facility or some sort of professionalized, mechanistic, using human input, human labor, human knowledge system for slaughtering people with this stuff, with weapons. Every little bit of shrapnel that is flying through the bodies of these people being just these big bombs that are going off, or the ones that are designed to explode above crowds so that they don't damage buildings as much, but they still produce this tremendous blast wave. All of that is a supply chain story. Every single bit of it flows back into some corporation. And at each stage, especially with these governments that use their defense contractors and their very profitable industries, where they produce money at every stage of transference, from whoever is in possession of the raw materials at the beginning, to the shipping, to the assembly, to the sales, to the shipping again, to where it's going to be used, and then to where it's stored as inventory somewhere or loaded up and then launched into the skull of a 7-year-old. Every single stage of that, some owner makes money. Somebody else does work. I'm not even saying this is fair or unfair. I'm saying that this is our productions. This is industrial scale production of death. And a lot of people pay their nice big house, their fancy little car, their nice vacations. And a lot of people also don't get paid enough. It's a weird thing to kind of make it. But like, it's all about the way money flows. And I think we should have restrictions, and we should have moral, culturally moral, like, impositions. In fact, there's been some activists showing up outside defense contractors trying to stop some of these places. I have so much respect for those people. God knows I'm not fucking doing that. And we should have severe restrictions, because the world we have is where there's the more violence, the more money these companies will make. Then they can donate some of their profits back into the politicians' pockets, and they can, strengthen the rat king solidarity. And they can keep this world going in this direction. So October 16th here, headline: Reuters, defense funds see sharp inflows as Israel-Hamas conflict threatens Middle East. Investors last week flocked to exchange-traded funds tracking defense companies in the United States and Europe on expectations that the Israel-Hamas conflict could spill across borders. The $5 billion iShares U.S. Aerospace and Defense ETF saw net inflows of $7.2 million for the week ending October 11th, after 7 straight weeks of outflows. $2 billion Invesco Aerospace and Defense EFT attracted $48 million, so their money's flowing towards these places. Another headline here. Investors.com, October 27th, 2023. The Israel-Hamas war impact on and outlook for defense stocks. Just the fact that these are for-profit businesses is just fucking mind-blowing to me. You could argue, well, what are you saying, Hank? There should have none of this? No violence preparation? I don't think we could flip a switch so easily, but this is all capitalism. All of this stuff is self-reinforcing. And when you allow profits to be made, and a lot of these massive companies have institutional investor portfolios that are in their portfolios for hedge funds, for mutual funds, for all kinds of different financial products. And people are often putting money into these things without even understanding that that's what's happening. And divesting or investing in certain industries is actually one of the few ways we have of kind of protesting. There's certain movements that try to divest from oil stuff and try to get, like, universities or whatever, or big college things, or big piles of money, various funds and trusts, to withdraw their investments from these businesses. But what you're doing when you're making money is you're making money off of death and violence. And especially as an investor, I understand the rationale behind, well, if you don't have investing and someone gives you $10,000, you go off, you start your business, you come back, you give that person $12,000, and now you have I understand there's like a lubricating effect to having investment. At most, finance should function as a lubricant to promote growth, as maybe like a starter fertilizer, or to help people when they're in need. But what we have as a financialized economy is we have a whole industry, a whole frickin' people that float above where the actual value comes from, which comes from labor and land. It comes from material and work. and they float above all that, and they just play games within the stock systems, within these money systems. And a big part of it is defense. So if you're a smart investor and you see this news in mid-October, dude, let's fucking get in on the Raytheon stuff, because they're gonna start shooting shrapnel and white phosphorus into people's bodies. This is good news for us. We can make some money. The government, they need, and then you can tell yourself a bullshit story. Well, we need to give them money so that they can continue to commit this violence. Especially if you buy this notion that other people's death, that the death of children is how you can achieve violence, which seems to be where they are right now. Okay, a little bit of reading here. Harrison Miller is the writer. A simple fact: wars require supplies. Can't argue with that. And many of the tools used in modern warfare are very expensive and difficult to manufacture and obtain. As a result, the eruption of war, whether in Ukraine or Israel and the Gaza Strip, generally sends the price of at least some defense stocks higher. Among the world's current conflicts, Russia's assault on Ukraine and Israel's response to the October 7th attack by Hamas have occurred under very different circumstances. It is worth taking a look at some of the similarities and differences in how defense stocks have so far responded to the two outbreaks. I didn't read all this to prepare for it, so I'm just going to give you a couple of paragraphs here. It's just a lot of percentages. So defense stocks surge, it says. The aerospace defense sector jumped 4.6% on October 9th. Market Smith data shows the first trading day following the Hamas attack on Israeli citizens. Despite the initial jump, the industry group posted marginal gains in the following days. The 67 stock group rose just over 2% from October 6th to October 26th. Defense contractors, small and large, posted gains during the period. Rising names included AeroVironment, Kratos Defense, Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, L3 Harris, RTX, formerly known as Raytheon, General Dynamics, BAE Systems, and Rheinmetall. Now, I don't know for sure, but I guarantee every single one of these fucking companies is filled with former military people. There's a whole revolving door between military officers, usually general types, and below too, who then end up working for these industries. It's this big fucking industry, and it does produce stuff that works. They pollute. They're also the world's biggest polluter, actually. Abby Martin, one of my favorite people. She's doing a lot of, she's got friends in Gaza. They made a movie. I actually know the editor of that movie, Gaza Fights for Freedom. So that's an important film that you should watch and share if you can or whatever. But she is currently making a documentary about the military being the world's biggest polluter. I know that they're covering some of the poisoning of people in Hawaii, but the greater story is that the military is just such an immense producer of carbon. Like the whole deal is just like as if we were accepting the challenge, the TikTok challenge to destroy the planet. And we said, come up with some way to kill the planet in under 1,000 years. And you would come up with capitalism. You'd come up with religiously motivated violent extremism and capitalism. Those two things together will prevent us from ever achieving the kind of utopian world that is possible. And I don't actually think it's ever going to be a goal we arrive at, but a feeling we feel from knowing that we're making the world better, or at least working towards that. I don't think people are feeling that anymore. So people try to tell themselves they are, but yeah, I wouldn't want to take that away from somebody. Okay, here's a paragraph. Lockheed Martin surged a bit more than 12% from October 6th to October 26th, also benefiting from an October 17 earnings beat. Oh, hey, way to go, Lockheed. Northrop Grumman rallied almost 15% during that period. L3 Harris is up about 8% since the Hamas attack, with most of its gains occurring on October 9th. General Dynamics also posted its largest gain on October 9th and is up nearly 10%. RTX surged 4.8% October 6th to October 23, after trading near its lowest level since February 2021. RTX stocks also spiked following its October 24th earnings beat, putting it ahead more than 14% since October 6th. So the supply chain's working. The ease with which people who don't need money can get more money is working incredibly well. And this system is going to keep churning and churning and churning. Let's see, our old friends, Jacobin, friend of the show. Military contractors I have a pile of Jacobin magazines over there. 2019, Just subscribed for 1 year. Couldn't afford to keep it up. Didn't really read it all anyway. If I didn't have my phone, I would read the Jacobin magazines while I poop. But I'd have a phone, and I always bring it with me. You know we all got poop on our phones, right? Military contractors are framing the Israeli war on Gaza as a win for investors. By Andrew Perez, Nick Byron Campbell, Joel Warner, and Lucy Dean Stockton, LDS, as we like to say. This week, arms industry executives at both Raytheon and General Dynamics spoke candidly about how Israel's war on Gaza will be good for business. Boy, that T is far away from the W-O there. Move it over a little bit, would ya? It looks like woe of America. I mean, I know what's happening. 2 of America's largest defense contractors told investors this week that Israel's brutal war on Gaza will be good for business, with one executive predicting its recent fourfold increase in artillery production will not be enough to meet additional demand. In the weeks since Hamas fighters massacred 1,400 Israeli civilians and kidnapped 200 hostages, Israel has pounded the Gaza Strip with thousands of bombs, killing at least 7,300 Palestinians and cut off food, water, fuel, and electricity to residents in advance of a ground invasion. New sentence. In advance of a ground invasion, Israel has demanded more than 1 million people evacuate northern Gaza in order the United Nations said would be impossible without devastating humanitarian consequences. The United States provides billions in aid to Israel every year, and President Joe Fuckface Biden recently requested $14 billion in new funding for U.S. military aid for Israel, in addition to $61 billion for Ukraine to help the country combat an invasion from Russia. We always got money for violence. There's no shortage of money for violence. Money to heal you? Fuck no. You pay for that, and even then you're not going to get healed all that much. Fucking healthcare system. Okay, sorry. U.S. officials have reportedly raised concerns that Israel has no real plan for an exit strategy after conducting a ground invasion in Gaza, according to the Financial Times. Either way, an escalation to the conflict will undoubtedly benefit defense contractors, which have already experienced a boom in business thanks to Russia's war in Ukraine, driving higher demand for fighter planes, missiles, tanks, artillery, munitions, and bombs. Oh, man. Okay, we'll just get down to this quote, then we'll stop this one here. Defense firms RTX, formerly known as Raytheon. Okay, so that's something I didn't know. And General Dynamics, which are America's second and third largest federal government contractors, have seen their stocks increase more than 10% since Hamas's October 7th attack on Israel. The trend is part of a broader surge in stock performance among defense companies. And people don't think about that as a handout either. All that government money, the same people that will judge a poor person for using government money to buy themselves some food or some sort of poverty assistance to just alleviate some of the stress of that, they would call that a handout that we have to reel in, that it's immoral and repugnant. But they get to just scrape off the mold off that government cheese, that big violence, all that money that flows through these defense companies, these violence companies. Like, we call cops peace officers. They're violence officers. They strap themselves with every fucking possible weapon, melee, chemical, area of effect, ranged. Handcuffs, cages are violence. Handcuffs are just tiny cages. The first step towards a cage. This week, executives at both firms spoke candidly about how Israel's war on Hamas will mean more business. Here's a quote from some demon. The Israel situation obviously is a terrible one, frankly, and one that's just evolving as we speak, said Jason Aiken, Chief Financial Officer and Executive Vice President at General Dynamics on Wednesday. But I think if you look at the incremental demand potential coming out of that, the biggest one to highlight, and that really sticks out, is probably on the artillery side. It's like a brand manager being like, well, we're not selling as many double stuffed Oreos, but there's been lots of movement in the biscuits. Is that a thing they call it? Biscuits? Is that the right word? Why am I trying to make this about cookies? But like, you know, there's like corporations and there's corporate people. And that, one of the things, just a total side note, somewhat related, but all the brain power that is in these corporations that I'm always railing about, we still would use those people. We still would need leadership. We still would need organizational effectiveness. We would still need a lot of this, most of the brain. I mean, all this brain power and intellectual might, the scaling effects of human collective behavior, especially our ability to synthesize information into aggregated chunks which is how we assign value, how we generate value from a world by concentrating its entropy into something that is a small ball of more organized atoms than a less organized atoms. That's what value is. That's why you're valuable. That's what consciousness is. All of that shit would still be obviously needed. And like, it's the drain, it's the waste of brain power to just produce profits for people who don't need money in the world we have. The world I would build, human potential would flourish, and it would be built around working less. I think the earth should be a leisure cult, not a work cult. My joke there, and I think there's something to it, is like we can be nutty. We need to be nutty. We're all fucking nutty. Let's be nutty about relaxing instead of nutty about working all the fucking time. That's why they don't let you vote on shit. That's why America's not a democracy. It's a sham. It's a pretend democracy. That's why bosses resist unions, because unions are democracy. When people vote on stuff, they tend to vote for their own interests. And if people get to vote on more things, then, like, for instance, introducing democracy into workplaces, aka unions, just like we did at the Young Turks. Cenk Uygur calls himself a fucking democratic capitalist, where he thinks that that capitalism should be checked by democracy. Well, we checked your fucking capitalism with democracy, and he fought it. It's crazy. And then he lied to his audience about how the union got started, which is something that not enough people know about. We had the meeting in my fucking house downstairs. We started it. Me and my friends. Anyway, sorry, that's a side point. But what the hell was I saying? I get this situation is yeah. Oh, all the wasted, all the energy, and people are working, and people are miserable, and people live these lives of quiet desperation. And so often in the world, people have immense terror and worry and violence and fear. And in a better world, we still have the fundamental agony of existence to reckon with. The fact that we all die, that our friends die, that injuries happen, that people get hurt. There's plenty of pain to make it all worth it. We just don't have a society that works on alleviating those pains. There's a list of pains that we can never avoid, but also when you do, but there's a list that we have the power to. But the economic system is literally built upon not fixing those pains. It's literally built on this set of conditions that they maintain in order so that you can't negotiate better living and working conditions for yourself. It's literally it's always all about leverage, as I always say. So the goal of society should be to reduce, minimize, eliminate all that pain. And then we have the fundamental core stuff to work on. And the reason we think it's so scary to die, and it's so scary to feel grief, and it's so scary to have all those other kind of pains is because, well, one, they are scary. Two is that you can only conceptualize all that stuff from the framework of a system of, I'm not going to say artificial, of solvable pains, a system of reducible, of majorly, of imposed, useful, economically useful pain and stress. When I say pain and stress, I mean very generic kind of concepts. And so you can't even understand that death won't be so scary in a bonded, connected world. We'll still probably prefer to avoid it. But the whole way we treat our elderly and the whole way we approach our own lives, the whole story we tell about our role in our world is all so individualized. Anyway, I'm getting off onto my thing here. So here, let's listen to this guy that's saying there's good money on the artillery side. Yeah, Bill, we're going to be moving lots of good units here this week. Yeah, sure. Okay, yeah, Saturday, 7 a.m. Yep. No, I don't want to play that course. I've already played that course this week. Okay. Yeah, let's do that one. Bring the whiskey. Sure. Yeah, we'll hunt some hobos on the back nine. Here's a guy talking. Obviously, that's been a big pressure point up to now with Ukraine. Wait, why am I reading it like that? Obviously, that's been a big pressure point up to now with Ukraine. One that we've been doing everything we can to support our army customer. Oh, our army customer. It's so fucking gross. We've gone from 14,000 rounds per month to 20,000 very quickly. We're working ahead of schedule to accelerate that production capacity up to 85,000, even as high as 100,000 rounds per month. And I think the Israeli situation is going to only put upward pressure on that demand. Hey, Big bonus this year, kids. Who wants another PS5? So some activists gathered outside General Dynamics weapons plant. Good for them. Yeah, I think we need to start I mean, obviously, I'm not standing outside weapons facilities protesting. Just a fucking asshole on YouTube. But the people who work for these places, I think in the future, one of the lenses I try to look through is like I time travel to the future and I look back and I say, like, what is it that jumps out that we just are totally okay with? People who work in these businesses need to be shamed. This guy probably lives in a great neighborhood, probably, maybe not this guy and his ilk is what I mean. They're not, no one spits on them. No one thinks of them as being violent, as hurting people, as contributing to the deaths of people. I think about health insurance executives a lot too. That's like one of those things that just like, God, like that you literally just go to work and you deny people, you make decisions that cause their death. You make decisions that feed them deeper into the wood chipper of our especially in America, of our health insurance, our health care nightmare system here. And they die. And you come home and you just tell what stories, I mean, is there ever been an insurance executive that was like, oh God, I can't believe what I've done, because they didn't actually sit there and pull the plug or pull the trigger, but you're every bit as violent. You're just using the modern systems of bureaucracy and corporatization to kill people for money. It's one thing if you're like running a trucking business or car, something, transportation. Vehicles are deadly. People die in accidents. It's unfortunate. I had another one of those pains. I think we should like make it our goal to diminish. Even in the socialist utopia, we'll probably occasionally have people getting run over by my, Pokemon shaped magic buses. As if that's my deal. But okay, you run a trucking business and some percentage of people over a 30-year career, people are going to get killed in accidents. That's not the same as being a health insurance executive who goes to work, who makes more money by their corporate requirement, by their legal requirement to maximize profit, that if they make a decision that helps the company save money, but denies a person access to health care, and that person ends up dying because of that, you've done your job. That is very different than a trucking business where people get killed. I'm just trying to, like, it's uniquely fucking heinous. I wonder, like, if meeting yeah. Like living next door to health insurance, like try to think of any serial killer in history and try to compare that to the body count of a week of a health insurance executive's job or a month. There's one study that shows that Medicare for All system would prevent 68,000 premature deaths a year. So tens of thousands of people a year slaughtered because we live in a nation that prioritizes profits and money. Like I said, I think last time, I don't know, I get confused. When you're affording healthcare, you're not affording healthcare. You're affording a rich person's third home and healthcare. You're affording their retirement and healthcare. You're affording a rich person putting some money into one of these defense contractors so that they can profit off wars and healthcare. Maybe. If it's even sufficient. If you even know what the fuck you're going to get charged for later. I find the whole healthcare thing repulsive. It's just so gross. So anyway, thanks for my friends at Jacobin. Thank you guys. Good job. Let's keep going. I don't have that much more here. I do have a very good ending though. I'm very actually quite, I like the ending that we're coming up on. And then there's this October 28, 2023, Professor Anthony Zenkis on Twitter says, oh, look, there's $500 billion worth of oil and natural gas off the coast of Gaza and the West Bank, and Israel wants it all to themselves. No wonder this is all happening, and the U.S. is in lockstep. JFC, which stands for Jesus, France. No, why am I trying to be funny about that? Jesus fucking Christ is what that stands for. So click on the link here. UNCTAD, some kind of United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. So this is a fairly official looking UNCTAD.org. Prosperity for all, it says for some reason. 28 August 2019. Okay, so this is a few years ago. The unrealized potential of Palestinian oil and gas reserves. Oil and natural gas resources in the occupied Palestinian territory could generate hundreds of billions of dollars for development. We can't have those people have that money. We need to keep that for ourselves so we can sell gas to you and your mom when you guys drive to the Trader Joe's to go get poisoned by some fucking frozen dish that you cook up that's probably somewhat delicious. Geologists and resources economists have confirmed that the occupied Palestinian territory, OPT, lies above sizable reservoirs of oil and natural gas wealth in Area C of the West Bank and the Mediterranean coast off the Gaza Strip, according to a recent UNCTAD study. UNCTAD. Boy, they really did not do any work on naming that algorithm. For God's sakes. New discoveries of natural gas in the Levant Basin are in the range of 122 trillion cubic foot, while recoverable oil is estimated at 1.7 billion barrels, according to the study entitled The Economic Cost of Occupation for the Palestinian People, the Unrealized Oil and Natural Gas Potential. This offers an opportunity to distribute and share about $524 billion among different parties in the region and promote peace and cooperation among old belligerents, the study notes. Got to get that money. That's the God. We got to worship the God. We have the God of energy. Energy is just concentrated entropy, basically. It's a highly concentrated ball of difference. And then when you use it in a way through a machinery designed to use it, it distributes the difference and it pipettes it out in a way that we can then convert it into mechanical motion, usually spinning. And so that's what concentrated energy is. But it also comes with pollution and accelerating the warming of the atmosphere by thickening the blanket. It's fucking horrible. So 2, 3, a couple more to go here. Yeah, fuck it. Why not? 2 hours. This will be one of my short ones. Okay, so U.S. National Archives. You've seen this. Y'all have seen Eisenhower giving his farewell address. There's a really good movie by filmmaker Eugene Jarecki called Why We Fight. That's basically about this speech and about the arms industry. I think it's from the 2000s at some point. Kind of movie I'd like to make. Kind of documentary sort of stuff that I like to do. This light is starting to drive me nuts a little bit. So YouTube video here, Eisenhower's military-industrial complex speech, origins and significance. I think this video is introduced by this guy, Michael, this historian dude who goes on MSNBC a lot. He's one of these Doris Kearns. I can't think of his name right now. What is his name? Michael, the historian guy. He's one of those guys that goes, oh yes, Chris Hayes. Yes, actually, or no, Chris. Who's the blonde Chris? Chris. The guy talks like this. Bernie Sanders is like the fucking Nazis. Wow, I can't think of his name. Anyway, I can't think of this guy's name either. It's just not, I can't come up with it. So let's see what it says.
I come to you with a message of leave taking and farewell.
This speech did not.
That's how I'm going to start when I leave. Well, it's time for a message of leave taking. I'll just get my panties. All right.
Get very much attention. When a new president is coming.
Michael Beschloss. Of course. I think it's him v. Doris Kearns Goodwin in a celebrity boxing fight. I'm going Goodwin. They call her the uppercut from the Missouri Public Archive. I have no idea why I said Missouri.
The power is.
I was trying to picture a big library, as if that. Come on. I've driven through Missouri. Okay. Illinois doesn't have as many abortion billboards. At least it's been a while. Maybe they do now. Maybe things have gotten better.
As John Kennedy was, the spotlight was not on Dwight Eisenhower.
We have been compelled to create a permanent armaments industry.
This is annoying. I just wanted to hear the goddamn speech.
We got contacted by.
God damn it. I did it wrong. I screwed up, everybody. I'm sorry. Okay. I think I found one here. I put the word armistice, which I think threw off the searching. So let's see.
From the White House in the office of the President of the United States, we present an address by Dwight D. Eisenhower.
January 17th, 1961. This is, TV camera's been around for 10, 15 years-ish. I mean, I'm not sure when like mobile news cameras started up, but Still pretty much in its infancy.
This is the farewell address for President Eisenhower, whose 8 years as chief executive come to an end at noon Friday. Mr. Eisenhower has chosen this time for his final speech. Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
By the way, why do we all talk like this?
Good evening, my fellow Americans.
Hello, my fellow
First,
American.
I should like to express my gratitude to the radio and television networks for the opportunities they have given me over the years to bring
get to the good
reports
part.
and messages to our nation.
Edited that. Here we are. Homeboy's going to tell us what he knows. Okay. I don't. YouTube is serving me an ad here that says dating for people with high standards. They don't know me at all. I don't have high standards. Look at me. I like to think I would, but no, nothing but pure trash. Like I'm not searching for dating stuff. I don't know why it feels. I have not done any type of dating search. I idly sometimes think about it in my brain, but unless YouTube is already listening to that part, for some reason I find that funny. Okay, so here's the bit where he says, "Yo, y'all, we gotta watch the fuck out because my homies over there, they've got a deal going on here. They know that they can use your fear and your desire for safety, which is a longer way of describing fear, to make themselves a lot of money because they can create a world that's filled with danger and then sell you the feeling of security by showing you our big, strong weapons that we can use to blow up children and flatten apartment buildings." So he's like, be careful. That's a little bit dangerous. What a nice thing to tell us. And it is honest. And it is head. And unfortunately, it seems like it's all come true. Nightmare. Fucking
Is the
nightmare.
improvisation of national defense. We have been compelled to create a permanent armaments industry of vast proportions. Added to this, 3.5 million men and women are directly engaged in the defense establishment. We annually spend on military security alone more than the net income of all United States corporations.
By the way, look at this ugly ass couch in this girl's photo. She's cute. She's fine. You know, but like, come on, high standards. Fluff up those pillows. She's just sitting on a couch. It's a photo. It's the worst angled photo. That's like every photo of my childhood is exactly that angle of my parents standing. So the camera's basically at 5'7" off the ground. Every single photo is that angle. I have high photography standards. If anything, get a little bit low. Get some bokeh. Come on. Don't you want blurry shit in the back so your girl looks all cute in her photo with the Christmas lights? Sorry, that is not the kind of commentary that Eisenhower's speech warrants.
Now, this conjunction of an immense military establishment and a large arms industry is new in the American experience. The total influence, economic, political, even spiritual, is felt in every city, every state house, every office of the federal government. We recognize...
Oh, by the way, in every generation or two, we're going to feed a whole bunch of young people into the wood chipper, and those that don't get killed will come back with their heads completely scrambled. Every family is going to have a story about uncle or auntie, the sergeant, auntie sergeant, gunnery sergeant. Okay, the ripples of psychological trauma from war. We're okay.
Is the imperative need for this development. Yet we must not fail to comprehend its grave implications. Our toil, resources, and livelihood are all involved. So is the very structure of our society. In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist.
Well, the potential has been realized, my friend. His son was like a guy or something, and he looks exactly like him. He's like a spitting fucking image. It's kind of nuts. I feel like that's what I would look like if I was a baby. If I was like a full-sized baby. I don't know why I feel like that. That's a strange thing to say. Okay, 2 things to wrap up on. The final video, though, please stick around for that. You can skip ahead. It's just someone on TikTok making excellent points. A very smart person. So here is I used to follow. Maybe she's off Twitter, but God, I don't know how to say it. Ijema Oluo, Oluo. Sorry. So I'd recognize that name, but she wrote a little thing here. I'm not just it's just like a post somewhere. I guess is that Instagram. I can't tell. Maybe that's Twitter. The fuck. It doesn't matter. The words are important here. So she says, the idea that Palestinian liberation would require the mass killing of Jewish people is so fucking racist, and it boggles the mind how many so-called progressives believe it. Y'all sound like white supremacists warning of white genocide, and it's fucking embarrassing. If your safety requires the occupation, imprisonment, and oppression of a people, you don't have safety, and you never will, because everything you have will be inherently violent and must be upheld through violence, and you will continue to justify that violence with the racist idea that those you oppress must be even more violent and oppressive than you, and you will use resistance to that oppression to feed the fear needed to maintain this cycle. If you feel that a people has to earn, quote unquote, their liberation by meekly submitting to oppression, you are racist. If you feel that a people have to prove that they will be responsible, in quotes, with their liberation like they're fucking children, you are racist. And your inherent belief in your own superiority that you refuse to investigate will have you saying that your manufactured fear of what could be for you or for those you identify with on a global colonial scale matters more than the devastating reality of what you are doing now to those you deem as less than. You don't get to say, we created this violent system of oppression, but now we have to maintain it because we shouldn't have to take any personal risk to dismantle it. So, well, I guess folks stay oppressed forever. Do you get how fucking evil this is? If the idea of Palestinian liberation makes you feel unsafe, if the simple thought of freedom for a people makes you feel threatened, you need to take a good hard look at yourself and your bigotry. This is how a genocide happens because of you. You are on the wrong side of history. Yeah, that's well said. Okay. I mean, that's what our whole world is built on, the idea that another person's loss is my gain. And the violence of, and I'm adding my own obviously here, but the system of violence that it has to uphold the entire system, the entire edifice of supply, like the supply chain, the emotional supply chain that underpins all these Western capitalist societies, is ownership, which is the exclusion of someone from something else. And I'm not talking about owning your own mug or your own printer or your own house even. But when you start to talk about owning land and owning resources and owning things that people need for human flourishing, the concept of sharing diminishes and the concept of hoarding increases. And ownership requires borders. It literally means drawing a line around something, metaphorically or literally. And that means that you're going to then need to defend that border. So the power, the what upholds ownership is violence, is your willingness and ability to inflict violence on somebody. If someone's trying to steal my car, I might have to get violent. I'm not saying it's necessarily wrong, quote unquote, but it's the foundation of our world. And I think we could lean or move or return to humanity, to our actual instinctive origins as collective species who don't even have those concepts. The colonialist brain of that is mine now, and I have a gun, you don't. And if you try to fight me back, I will destroy you. And I also will impose all these other systems within my culture to make sure that you are prevented ever from achieving anything close to this, because now I own it. And if you get too unruly, we're just going to kill everybody. I mean, it's theft, ownership. I think in a cosmic sense, it should be fucking crazy to own any kind of earth at all. You know, the whole way of even conceptualizing the whole deal is fucking gross. But all right, let's finish up here. This is a really compelling video by person on TikTok goes by Simkern, Simkern. I'd seen them before, and seemed really smart and really intelligent. And I hadn't been on TikTok in quite a while. Someone posted this on Twitter, but I went and found this page here, and this is 5 minutes. Let's just listen. Then I got to bail really fast because I'm late. I'm already a little bit late for something. So we'll finish off with this and enjoy. Sorry, enjoy is not the right word. Learn and listen.
Yesterday, someone who I think in good faith was coming into my comments to learn asked the question, okay, Israel's an apartheid state. What do we do? Like, how do we make it right? And I said, well, first give all Palestinians full citizenship, full voting rights, and restore their freedom of movement across the entire country, and restore the land that was taken from them over the last 75 years, give it back. And then they replied, okay, but if we do that, how do we ensure we keep Israelis safe from Palestinians? I think that's the exact wrong question to ask. And let me tell you a story from US history to explain why. So contrary to many people's popular beliefs, before and during the Civil War, abolition was not a popular point of view, even in the North. The centrist liberal position in the North was that slavery was wrong and abhorrent, sure, but it was absolutely necessary. Because if you suddenly just like freed all the black people, oh my God, what would happen? It would be so scary, right? These people who've been treated so violently as slaves, if you even saw them as people, would just be let loose on the country? Like, what would keep them from just killing all the white people and causing total mayhem? Lincoln himself was not an abolitionist. He only passed the Emancipation Proclamation because he saw it as strategically necessary. He had to bring the Southern economy to a grinding halt, and by freeing slaves, in the same time, he could recruit many of those slaves to serve in the Northern Army. This was considered so extreme. The idea of arming black people, freed slaves, was totally terrifying to many in the North. And some of the border states even had political movements to try to leave the Union over it. And they believed their fears were totally justified because there was a ton of violence from slaves towards slave owners. This is a very suppressed history, but there were over 250 slave uprisings involving 10 or more slaves attacking slave owners during the antebellum period. And there were countless more cases of individual slaves, killing a slave owner and then running off into the night. Like, I don't think we have good numbers on how many there were, but there was definitely like a lot of precedents of slave on slave owner violence. And this was part of the justification for why we can't free slaves. They're just so violent. But Lincoln took his gamble. He passed this outrageous Emancipation Proclamation law, and it was in fact essential for winning the war. But after the war was over, the fear in white people's imagination of black violence did not go away. But it was not black people who formed a paramilitary army to terrorize another race. That was the Ku Klux Klan. It was not black people forming lynch mobs, killing people by the thousands in a spectator sport. So when you say, if we free Palestinians, if we free Palestine, who's going to keep Israelis safe? Do you see that you're using the same logic as liberals in the Civil War era saying, if we free slaves, who's going to keep white people safe? It's the wrong question to ask. History teaches us we should be much more concerned, if we free Palestinians, who's going to keep them safe from stochastic terrorism from Israelis? Who's going to keep Palestinians safe from Israeli police forces that have been brutalizing them for generations? And we know from looking at South Africa that you can end legal apartheid and not make a dent in economic apartheid. And so just restoring the land that was taken over the last 75 years will not be enough to upend this economic apartheid, especially knowing that many of these Palestinian families made their living through agriculture before Israel came and kicked them off their land. And Israel has unfortunately irreparably destroyed much of this land. The major crop out of Palestine was olives. Olive trees can live for hundreds of years, and Israel regularly bulldozes or cuts down hundreds of year old groves of olive trees to try to break Palestinian spirit so they'll have no reason to return to the land and no way of making a living if they do. And through land and water mismanagement, Israel has desertified much of the country over the last 75 years, polluted water sources, overused water, drying up aquifers. For a really good look at how devastating Israel has been to the ecology of Palestine, check out Raja Shahada's Palestinian Walks. So another question asked is, if Palestine is freed, if all Palestinians are given full equal civil rights and their land is restored to them, how are we going to keep them safe from Israeli hatred and violence? And how are we going to ensure that they have economic security? If we look at the history of apartheid in South Africa and the freeing of slaves in the United States, we realize these are much more pertinent questions to ask than how are we going to protect the colonizers from the colonized people once they are freed? Yesterday, someone who I think in good
So interesting. I like the phrase "history teaches us," and very smart person. I think that's like reading. I think this. I think she does. Sorry, I don't know the fuck. Does reading books and stuff, book TikTok stuff. So people who read a lot, I gotta admire them, especially if you can synthesize it all into an argument like that. So I thought that was just very insightful and very interesting. The safety of in America, we did not make America safe for Black people. We changed the rules. We nationalized slavery into the criminal justice system, and then we ensured that it was going to remain a very a deeply unfair and apartheid state system of fear, and then that fear pays off because it prevents people from having leverage, and leverage tends to trend towards equality and towards equalization, and that's why bosses hate it. So, all right, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. I think some of that made sense. I don't know, maybe. I don't know. I can't tell. Patreon.com/winners and losers. More on the way. Slowly, but surely. No, I almost said slowly, but stillly. Yeah, and watch the Valheim things that I do. Those are fun. I'm gonna do another one. Now that I got the camera set up, I'll probably do a little recording today. I'm excited to do some video game marauding. All the stuff that I just spent 2 hours talking about how bad it is exactly what you do with a video game. You steal resources and you make decorations and put it on your walls and you destroy land. So that's but I like the woodworking part of it. You get to build stuff. It's pretty cool. I got some new buildings to show off. Okay, gotta go. Bye-bye. See you guys later. Hope you're doing well. Take care of yourself. It's okay to disconnect from it if you need to. You having a worse day doesn't help anybody. It's literally just cosmically a small cosmic bruise on you, and you don't feel guilty for caring about yourself. I'm trying to talk myself into that too. I honestly, if I did 2 years away from the news, I'd probably be better off, because I still don't have a very good foundation of my own security in life. But all right, okay, bye. See ya. Bye-bye. Goodbye.